right, if you're looking at your screen, you already see 1985, Daniel's iPhone. That means the vision is with us today, man. Daniel, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
Oh, man, everything's good. 1985. What's up with you, man?
Man, I'm chilling. I'm relaxed.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. All right, so we're going to get rid of all of the business part first. Of course, everybody has the single. If I Get Caught, everybody's already going back and forth on that polarizing single. What we're not going to do is talk about the polarization part of it, okay? We're just gonna tell people to go out and get it, listen to it, and enjoy it. Now, the business part that we do have to get to is folks need an album, man. When can they get an album?
We're trying to get that to you guys in the next couple months. We're literally, after we get off this interview, we're headed to the studio to just keep putting the little bits of finishing touches. We got a couple feature verses that we just gotta get locked in, but we're pretty much there. I'd say we're like 95% there.
Okay. All right, so being part of the OVO team, do you find like any pressure to perform? You know what I mean? Like, this has to be perfect. You know, it's part of the brand.
Nah, I mean, we already put that pressure on ourselves. Like, our first project even was done before we even signed our deal. Okay. So we signed our deal and gave them exactly what we already had, which, you know, people look at now as like, you know, a cult R&B classic or however they might do it, from that era, 2016. But, you know, we make a point of having the harshest of criticisms for ourselves. So with or without anybody, we move like that.
Speaking of which, I'm glad you said that. Like, people label what you do as alternative R&B. What the hell does alternative R&B mean? Or does it even make sense to you?
I think it's an alternative to what happened in the 90s and the 2000s. Okay. Just anything that isn't exactly like that becomes, you know, another form of R&B.
Okay.
Yeah. I realized in this past year why they've labeled us that way. Before I never really understood it. And I never understood why the mainstream didn't quite, you know, give us that same type of light. And I was always wondering, like, what is it from Toronto? Like, is it this, is it that? Because, you know, it's like 19, he's produced hits that have been, you know, it's beyond mainstream. Like, you know, One Dance, Hot Playing, these are records that, you know, have played 100 billion times. So it's definitely not the fact that, oh, all of a sudden now your beats are just underground or whatever it might be. So I didn't understand it until I went to Atlanta.
Okay.
And when I was in Atlanta over the past year and I heard what they view and how they view certain things, I was like, oh, this is why you guys look at us like we're almost experimental in comparison.
Right.
Because there's a certain amount of just direct nail on the head that they expect and that they take from R&B. Not we sometimes, you know, we coat things with double entendres and metaphors and, you know, in too deep, don't want to pull out, could be sex or just be relationship status, you know, different things. Like, we've always tried to put a certain level of, you know, extra layers, but sometimes people just like things direct. And so, you know, we took that approach with a song like If I Get Caught. You see what happens. The whole mainstream now is like, what division? What's going on here? And I'm like,
that's not what we meant. You missed it. So we heard what you said.
Yeah, you guys wanted it like this, and hey, now that we've hit the nail on the head, you know, it's crazy because I guess we see the reaction now. Now it's traveling so far that we're just like, oh, okay, so this is all you guys needed. You just needed it to be like,
okay. Oh, y'all speak English, not French. Got you. Okay. All right, so speaking of Atlanta, you went down there, you linked up with Jermaine Dupri, Brian and the crew.
Yeah.
How was that experience, man? Like those are like people who aren't in the music industry don't realize the legacy that comes out of those two guys. How was it when y'all linked up with them and got a chance to work with them?
Well, Brian's been an early supporter. Brian actually is one of the first people in the industry that I think even reached out to us, because when we put out some songs on SoundCloud, he found out that somehow there was some sort of relation to like 40 and the OVO crew, and he called 40 like immediately. I was just like, yo, who your guys? Talk to me. What's up? I got to get in with them. Who's making the music? Who's the singer? Like, he was direct. Like, yo, I gotta make that connection. So he was literally at our very first show we had in Atlanta. That was 6 years ago, you know?
Right.
But with Jermaine, that happened more organically as of a little over a year ago, because Daniel went there, and then I'll let you take it there.
Oh, yeah. You know, I like I said, I went out there. We just recently signed with a new management team. Shout out to them, LVRN. And, you know, just, I always wondered, like, you know, oh shit, B Cox knows who we are, but does Jermaine, you know, like, so I was just hoping to just even get a meeting, an introduction with, you know, one of our heroes.
Right.
And, you know, very quickly that relationship spawned into like that's my family at this point. Like, you know, like his mom, his daughter, like I spent New Year's Eve at their house, at Christmas at the house, you know, with like, we're on it like that. This is that kind of relationship now. It's far beyond music, which is dope, because you don't meet very many people that you connect like that with as just regular people. So much less for it to be one of the legends in the game and one of the people that have inspired you. It's amazing. He's when you meet him and you really start to hang with him, you start to understand why his life has panned out the way it did.
Okay.
You know, it's all so natural, such a like no thought, it's just who I am. I'm just this way, you know, if I want to feel.
He's fully immersed in it and not trying to be a part of it. It is a part of him.
He's just that. And that's the beauty of what he's brought to this album and to our music is, you know, as for us, you know, sometimes we can overthink things. Sometimes we can sit there and go back and forth a million times. It's dope to have a legend and someone with his knowledge just kind of be like, what are you guys talking about? Why are you guys still arguing about this one? Like, bro, what did you want to say? That? Okay, just say that. Bye. And walk out the room, you know, like, he takes genius and makes it so simple.
Right.
And I think we've both learned a lot from that. And
that in itself is genius.
That's what genius is, right? It's one thing if everybody smart can understand it, but it's another thing if you can do something so genius that like a baby can understand it.
Right.
And that's what If I Get Caught is. You know, If I Get Caught is like a hook that is just, it doesn't matter what you do. You know that hook. You hear it once, a baby's gonna sing it back to you, or you can sing it back to you. It's that simple. Which is what makes it, you know, what it is.
Okay, so like for people who didn't realize we're talking to Division, Canadian. Now I'll keep it funky with you. I didn't know any Canadian artists. I knew like 3 of them in the 90s and early 2000s. Okay, I knew Cardinal Official, I knew Choclair, and I knew Socrates. Okay. And the only reason I knew them was all through the same guy, a guy named Mr. Morgan. And that was it. That was the extent of my Canadian music knowledge. Mm-hmm. And then you see all of this talent just coming from Canada, you know, whether it's rappers, whether it's singers, whether it's reggae. What is that scene like in Canada, like in Toronto? Like, you know, for somebody who's never been.
Toronto is it's definitely the biggest like destination point for people from the islands, especially Jamaica, when they get move out or they get sponsored out. Okay. So the island culture lives in us probably heaviest anywhere in the world outside of the island itself.
Okay.
So, you know, whether you're white, Filipino, Chinese, you're walking around, you're still using patois in your slang in Toronto. But with that said, it's the cultures are all there. It's a city that has like, it's almost like no one there even like claims Canada. It's a weird way. It's like we're not like, oh, we're Canadian. No, we all claim where our mom is from, our dad is from, our family is from.
Okay.
So people there are, you know, we're waving Jamaican flags, Trinidadian flags, Philippines, whatever it is. And it's just like Canada or Toronto has kind of just given us a place to all congregate and do that, rep what we are. So because of that, you're getting a bunch of different authentically mixed cultures. And, you know, people sometimes say it feels like mini New York, like New York, but a bit smaller. But the people and the vibe of just, you know, the heartbeat of the city, I still think it's different. It's one of a kind.
Like years ago, I used to do national commercials, and I looked forward every year to doing the big Carnival commercial.
Caravana?
They used to get me to do those commercials every year.
Yeah.
And I never knew how big it was. I was like, why is this guy giving me $500 to do this commercial? Mm-hmm. You know, because I was like, okay. And then when you know, this is before, you know, social media and stuff. And then it's like, oh, I never understood it, how huge it was.
Huge, biggest in the world outside. Like it's the biggest Caribbean, you know, festival parade that there is. It's legendary. We just finally got it back this year after the pandemic.
Right.
And yeah, if you haven't been, you know, Caravana, Toronto, that's something you gotta see.
Yeah, get those things off of your record so you can cross the border and check that out. That's what I suggest.
Yeah, Benny.
All right, so all right, let's get back to the music. For people who have, you know, this is their first opportunity to actually pay attention to Division, and they had to go back and grab one album or one project of yours. Which one do you think would be like, okay, that's what they're about? Or does it make sense at this point because you're still evolving?
That's the thing. Division is going to constantly evolve. I hope everybody that is joining as new fans gets to understand that Division, even the whole meaning behind that word and that symbol is people that are on their own time, people are on their own vibe, even if it means being separated from the rest. So we are owning evolution. We're owning being on our own vibe, whatever that might be. When everybody was doing trap, and only trap and R&B existed, we came in with slow jams and gave you Too Deep and gave you With Me and gave you The Line and records like that. And then we progressed it on the second album and started getting more into like, okay, let's get out of just, you know, the bedroom music. We know there's been none. Let's give them relationship talks. Let's give them the situationships that are happening right now. You know, like every time, we're always going to be true to R&B. Always know that. So any project you can pick up and find that. We're always going to have probably be one of the truest in the game, period, right now, because I think a lot of people are out here confusing what R&B is and was. You know, they're mixing it in with pop or with rap and different things. But I'm a real singer. This is a real thing. I really write these records from that standpoint. You know, we have other influences, but you're not going to be able to not hear that in me. And in 85, you're not going to be able to not hear how he's influenced by R&B, but able to, you know, progress it every time. So
we're gonna have to get them to get that alternative off the front of the R&B moniker, man.
Oh, they're gonna take it off this album. I'll tell you that. They're gonna take it off this album because this album it's too many things that are gonna hit right on the head for people to have to not talk about it. And once people have talked about it at this level, even if I get caught, it's again, you know, because it's ringing off this way, I know that means, okay, cool. Now the next record that you guys are gonna get, you're gonna have to pay a different type of attention to, and we know exactly where to take that. Okay. The next record is actually probably one of the probably the song that probably embodies everything everyone says doesn't exist in R&B anymore.
Okay, so you're saying you have that on your phone and you can play a clip right now?
I mean, I could, but I won't.
Okay, all right. Hey man, closed mouths don't get fed, brother. Had to ask. All right, so I have these last few questions, quick answers, because I know you're ready to get some work done in the studio. We're talking to Division. All right, so first question. Has one of your significant others ever gone through your phone?
Absolutely.
Daniel?
100%.
100%. Did they find anything that ended the relationship?
No.
Yes.
No.
19, what was it, brother? Text messages?
Yeah, text messages and just conversations that they probably were suspecting and didn't want to find and then found, and you know how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't had any relationship ending, but I've had some, you know,
I wouldn't say it was
drama
relationship ending, but it led to what, you know, deteriorated.
It was the spark that started the fire.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I hated to incorporate the song into this, but do you truly believe that women are only attracted to men that other women are attracted to?
Not only, but I do believe that women generally, whether they notice it or not, subconsciously, you are naturally attracted to women that you know are desirable, period, and desirable to other women. You know, that if I walk around with 100 girls that are fawning over me everywhere I go, the girl that was never paying attention to me is going to start paying attention. Like, what are these girls looking at? Oh, I mean, I guess he's cute. I don't know. I guess, you know.
19, what you about to say?
No, I was gonna say, I think that's a people thing. Like, I think even if you look at clothes or style, like there's so many things currently that I don't think everybody likes, but you start seeing them enough and people are like, you know what, I don't mind those really chunky shoes, or I don't mind that really funny looking car, I don't mind that kind of awkward looking guy, you know. Like, I think a lot of things are influenced by the way we're perceiving them. Like, if we're perceiving that everybody's into this and you're not, there's not many people that are okay with being like, I'm fine with completely being out the loop. A lot of people want to be in the loop.
You could take a super unattractive, conventionally unattractive man, make him date Kim Kardashian for a year, and I guarantee you, after that, if that relationship ends, that guy's gonna be able to walk around and get whatever girl.
Okay. Which leads into the next question. The biggest difference, not physically, but any other attribute wise, between women in Canada and women here in the US that you've noticed?
Canada or Toronto?
Toronto. Yeah. I'm sorry, Toronto.
Yeah. Big difference.
Toronto.
Women in Toronto versus women other places. What I will say is women from different, I can't say the US because each city has its own vibes. Like, true. Southern women are a certain way. New York girls are a different way. You know, LA girls are a different way. So what I will say is I think our women could stand to be a little bit nicer to the guys that are from the city.
Okay.
I think a lot of our women...
I was gonna say, what's happening in Toronto is Toronto has a lot of beautiful women that the rest of the world has now realized, and I think it's changed how they're seeing themselves. So it's kind of like they're now the hot girl in school. You know, like one day you were just like regular, and then 2 weeks later, everybody's like, oh my God, have you seen her? I feel like the world is being, oh my God, have you seen them? Okay. And that has changed the way that they are.
They're more appreciated, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like they could, like, women in the South. First off, I love my Southern women. I love for sure. But they're just their vibe, their whole demeanor when it comes to men and how they approach it. You know, they're a little bit more forward when they like you. They'll just come and tell you. You know, when you start hanging out with them, they're trying to be as hospitable as they can be. Whereas, you know, different other cities, it's not like that. So I think each city has its own vibe.
Okay. All right. So you've done a lot of stuff musically. What is a project that you've done, a song, an album that people didn't even realize you were part of?
Well, I think that's more of a 19 question, because he's definitely produced records that people don't know.
Daniel wrote Chris Brown record.
Oh shoot!
Whoa! You know he's from here. He's from here. So you got to tell me about that. What record was that?
What's the record again? What's it called?
It was a song that really went overseas. It was like an ED. It's a Benny Benassi, Paradise.
Okay. So now I'm gonna have to go and find that record.
Yeah. That was when I was trying to come up as a writer. It's actually not too long before Division happened. But yeah, you know, it was an opportunity to write something kind of out of my normal, because it was almost an EDM type record. It's
Hold on. Did the check cash? That's all that matters.
Oh yeah. Oh, the check cleared.
Okay, yeah, that's all that matters, man. That's cool. All right, so final question. Everybody knows that music, you know, when you're a musician, when you're a songwriter, any of that, that's how you breathe. That's what you do. It's part of who you are. What is it that you enjoy doing when you step away from that, you know, to take a breath of fresh air?
Me, I just like to live, man. I'm the kind of guy, like, I like to move around with the homies. I'm in the bowling alleys, I'm playing dominoes, I might jump on the Call of Duty, you know, we play basketball, all that stuff. You know, jet skis, forerunners, stuff like that. I'm an experience heavy guy. But what I will say is, even musically, if I was to keep it in music, what I like to do away from singing and writing, to be honest, my real love, even above all else, is being on the stage.
Okay. Performing.
Yeah, that's my number one.
19.
I love to cook. I love to eat. Love to travel, go places, see things, experiences too. I feel like the world is too big to not see as much of it as possible.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm working on.
And we're both really big movie heads too.
Yeah.
Okay. So are y'all still at that point where you can go into movie theaters and not be bothered, or people running up on you? Are you at that point?
It's hit or miss. Go ahead, please. What you say?
No, I was just saying, I live very low key.
He gets away with a little bit more because he's not as seen as I am.
He just puts his hat down a little bit, and
he's cool. He's cool.
Every now and then I'll see people looking at me, and I can tell they're thinking
they're trying to be like, where do I know him from?
And I just keep walking. I'm
about to say, hey, do I know you? Say, yeah, we went to school together, and keep it moving.
Yeah, for me, it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss these days. You know, sometimes I can go out and it's nothing. Sometimes I go out, you know, I gotta stop and take a few pictures, say what's up, you know, which is cool. You know,
right.
It's not like I'm getting chased through malls. I'm not there, but I'm at the place where, you know, you if I'm in a space where people that should know Division are going to be around, you know, I can expect to, you know, say what's up to some people or take a few pictures.
So if it's a problem, you definitely at the spot where they're going to have the phones out videotaping everything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But look, man, I know y'all have to get back to the studio. I appreciate you taking the end of your day to take a few minutes to chop it up with me.
Wait, this is VA, right?
This is definitely VA.
Yeah. Big shout outs to VA, man. I actually really, everyone that I've met from there, I really like mess with on a real level. Like, so some of the real
good folks. I wish I played Call of Duty. I would give you my name tag, but I don't, man. But I look to see if you guys will come in anytime soon. You're not. So we look forward to, you know, whenever you're close to VA, having you stop through. And of course, we look forward to hearing the new project, which hopefully drops by the end of the year. So we can, we can see how direct you're actually going to be in these next few projects, man. Daniel 19, division, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, I appreciate your time, man.
Thank you, man. Peace and love.